I want to start this video off by saying that there are four main types of supercars. We have sports cars, we have the supercars, the sports cars, which a lot of people don't know. Then we have the hypercars. You see, the term supercars is what we use to generalize all performance cars. And like I mentioned earlier, there are levels and categories to it. But I see a lot of people like mixing them up, calling supercars hypercars, calling super sports cars hypercars. Why is not supposed to be so? And that's why I'm making this video, because in this video are the types of supercars, their characteristics, and also their boundaries. But before I start discussing anything, guys, I am Meno, and this is my YouTube channel. And this channel will talk cars and all things cars. So if you're interested, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Watch this video to the end, and if you like it, give the video a thumbs up. And with that said, thank you for tuning in. And let's get the video started. Alright, like I mentioned earlier, there are four main types of supercars. There are sports cars, supercars, super sports cars, and hypercars. But I want you to know that they don't have any specific definitions, and their meaning will vary from person to person. Their standards also are being raised year by year and decade by decade. For example, the supercar in 1960 is not a supercar in today's standards. So I'm starting off with the list of the lot, which are sports cars. So what are sports cars? According to my understanding though, sports cars are like our everyday cars that are narrowed down and built solely for the driving pleasure. They are faster, more agile, more fun, and handle better than the everyday cars. As for their characteristics, they are mostly front-engined, small and low to the ground, often built for two passengers with minimized storage space. They are also practical for the day-to-day use, and they are also cheap and affordable. That's why they have the biggest fan base out of the whole supercars. They are not the quickest, they are not the fastest, nor boast the best design and technology, but they can be the most fun. They are the cars that you use to express your driving skills, go full send without much fear. They are not the cars that you crash and be like, oh, my world has ended. Like, let's say, for example, you spec a supercar or a hypercar and you waited like 2 years to get it, and finally you get the car and you take it to the track or the drive strip. Like, when driving it and going like crazy with the car, you'll be really, really extremely careful, because you know that if something happens or if something were to break in the car, it's going to be really, really expensive to fix, and you don't want to be like you don't want to crash the car immediately after getting it, because the car is so expensive and valuable to you. But with sports cars, those fears are eliminated. Like, not that I don't have the fear in sports cars, but they are really, really minimized in sports cars. You can take them to the track, take them to the drag strip, take them drag racing, like take them drifting and doing burnouts without much fear that something is going to break and it's going to be really, really expensive to fix. That fear is being taken away in sports cars. Not only that, you can mod them to your hard content, tune the engine to make more power, and like the opportunities you get with sports cars are just endless. And that's why I personally think they have the biggest fan base out of the whole categories of supercars. And now examples of cars that embody what sports cars are really are. We have the Nissan 370Z, the Nissan 350Z, you have the Toyota Supra, the Subaru BRZ, the Ford Mustang, the Mazda Miata, we have the BMW M2, the V8 Vantage Aston Martin, the Honda S2000, and the base Porsche 911, and the list goes on and on. So that's sports cars. Now coming over to supercars, and supercars are a massive jump over sports cars. So supercars are cars that are built for performance, luxury, and design. They're often built with this perfect mixture of a high level of performance, luxury, and design to them, built with some of the best technologies that human science has been able to come up with. As for their characteristics, they mostly feature cutting-edge design and some with smooth silhouette designs, having this flashy and attractive look to them. They're mostly low to the ground, with price ranging from anywhere from $100,000 up to $1 million, depending on the brand and the spec you go for. And their power range from at least 500 horsepower to well over 1000 horsepower, and speed reaching up to 220 miles an hour, depending on the level of performance you want. And they can be really, really loud. And some good examples of supercars are the Aventador lineup, the Aventador S, the SV, and the SVJ, the McLaren 720S, the 765LT, the Ferrari F8, the 80 Super 5, the Porsche 911 2S, the GT3, the Aston Martin DBS, the Audi R8, the Corvette Z06. Yes, a sports car that evolved to become a supercar. You have the MC20. And the list goes on and on. And there are some sedans that some people consider to be supercars that are actually not. A good example of those are the Tesla Model S and the Lucid Air Sapphire. Yes, they are like overpowered, like they have 1000 horsepower. They can go from 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. But that's just about it. They can only go quick in a straight line. But when it comes to braking performance, handling, and everything that makes a supercar, they lack. So that's why they are not supercars. They're just overpowered. And now coming over to super sports cars, and this is why I think I'm going to be annoying, and I'm certain a lot of people. But if you watch the video throughout, you're going to get the full point. So just stick around. So what are super sports cars? Super sports cars are supercars or cars that are built and enhanced for track performance. They fall in between supercars and hypercars, but are leaning towards the hypercars level more. And they are more exclusive and limited in numbers of productions compared to supercars. So, what are their characteristics? As for their characteristics, they are mostly built with more emphasis on their aerodynamic package, with some having some aero packages that are more advanced than some hypercars. They make anywhere from 700 horsepower to well over 1200 horsepower. I know that some are going to eventually evolve to become a full-fledged hypercars, just like the Seat evolves to become the Z06 that will consider to be a supercar today, with a speed ranging from anywhere from 180 miles an hour to well over 240 miles an hour. But some are mostly limited. Like some are limited to 180, some to 200, some to 210, some to 217, some are limited at 220 miles an hour. And their price range from $500,000 to well over $4 million. I've soon seen with the Ferrari F80. Yes, the F80 is not a hypercar. I'm sorry. And here are some good examples of super sports cars. We have the McLaren Senna, we have the Ferrari LaFerrari, we have the P1, we have the F80 and the W1, we have the Zenvo TSRX, we have the Brabham BT62, we have the Aston Martin Volca, and the list goes on and on. And me calling them super sports cars is not downplaying them. Like, they are leagues above supercars. And they're even like relative to hypercars, but they are not entirely hypercars. They are high performance supercars. So, and now we're coming over to the top dogs, like the top dogs when it comes to road motor vehicles, the hypercars. So, what are hypercars? Hypercars are cars that are built just to push the boundaries in engineering science, technology, performance, and in design. They are the pinnacle of road motor vehicles, and they set the bars and standards of what can be achieved by road motor vehicles. As for their characteristics, they're often made with the most advanced, the most powerful, and the best powertrains that human technologies has been able to come up with, and still adhering to the rules and regulations of the road. Their power range from 700 horsepower to well over 2000 horsepower, with speed ranging from 220 to 300 miles an hour, and the boundaries are being pushed forward and forward. And they boast some of the most elegant and the most aesthetically pleasing designs that you ever see on any road going vehicle today, with their price ranging from anywhere from $800,000 to well over $10 million. At this point, you're getting the best of the best. And now here are some good examples of cars that embodies what hypercars truly are. Starting with a car that is considered to be the first hypercar, the Bugatti Veyron. And some people might argue that the McLaren F1 is the first hypercar, but yes, the Veyron embodies what a hypercar truly is. It came with mind-blowing stats. We are talking about 1000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, with top speed of 254 miles an hour, taking the speed record in 2005 and in 2006, what was later reclaimed in 2007 by the SSC Ultimate Aero. But in 2010, Bugatti also reclaimed the top speed back with the Veyron Supersport. And at this point, manufacturers were going band for band. And not to mention that it came with a W16 engine, the first of its kind, with 4 turbochargers and 10 radiators. Yes, 10 radiators just to keep everything cool. Like, it was mind blowing. We also have other manufacturers pushing the boundaries in top speed like Koenigsegg with the Agera RS. Back in 2017, they took the world record for the fastest production road-going car with a top speed of 278 miles an hour, and the Agera is one of the first hypercars that was considered to be the first to have an adaptive rear wing. And Koenigsegg is now taking things a step further with their Jesko. The Jesko features the fastest revving engine in the world right now and has a very complicated gearbox that features like individual clutches designated to different gears at different RPM and speed, and it's just like mind-blowing. Not to mention that the Jesko is projected to be able to do 330 miles an hour, which is like mad. And we have other manufacturers pushing the limits in terms of performance. by Rimac with their Nevera, showing us what electric cars can actually do. The Rimac having a top speed of 258 miles an hour, making it the fastest electric car in the world. And at some point, it broke 21 world record, including 0 to 400 kilometers an hour and back to 0 world record, which it took from the Koenigsegg Regera, but Koenigsegg later took it back again with the yes gun. At this point, they were like going band for band. Like Koenigsegg has been out there breaking many lap records that nobody actually cares, but they're just doing it. And we still have other manufacturers pushing the boundaries in terms of the art of design, like Pagani with their Utopia, Huayra, Zonda R. We have the Tommaso P72, and the list goes on and on. We also have the general hypercars that we all know and love today, like the Aston Martin Falcon, which is literally the closest thing to an F1 car that you can buy and drive on the road today. We have the Chiron Supersport, which is literally the fastest car in the whole world right now. We have the Hennessy Venom F5, we have the SSC Tuatara, we have the McLaren Speedtail, the AMG One, and the Koenigsegg Regera, and so many other cars just like this. And that's why they're called hypercars. They're just there to push the boundaries on what could be achieved in terms of engineering, science, technology, and in performance. And now here's a category that I added along the line making this video, and those are track hypercars. And these are hypercars, sometimes supercars or even hypercars that enhance solely for track performance. Like they ignore all the rules and regulations of the road. That's why they're no longer road legal. You can't drive them on the road. If you're driving the car, it's going to be on the track, and they're optimized solely for track performance. Everything from their powertrain, their drivetrain, the aero package, and every single element integrated into the car is just built there to make the car go faster around the track. A good examples of those cars are the Bugatti Bolide, the McLaren Solus GT, the Pagani Huayra R, the Aston Martin Factory EMR, and the list goes on and on. So those are track hypercars, and I hope you've learned something from this video, guys. You've learned the types of supercars, their characteristics, and also their boundaries. And if you did learn anything from the video, let me know in the comment section down below. And with that said, we've come to the end of the video, guys. If you like the video, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. And if there is anything you think I missed out in the video, let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you want me to cover a video on the channel, let me know the video idea in the comments down below. And with that said, thanks for watching and thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and stay safe.